Namaskar everyone and welcome to the Geeta Satsang for today. Let us start with the Prarthana. By the Guru's grace and the will of Sri Krishna, we have all assembled for this Geeta Satsang. May we have their guidance to be able to learn and adopt the things which will help us to grow spiritually. Let us chant the Shlokas. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramartanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmane Pranatah Kleshanashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Ullara Vindayata Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Ramanujataya Patram Jnana Vairagya Bhushanam Srimad Venkatanathāryam Vande Vedanta Deshikam Yo Nityam Achyuta Padambuja Yukma Rukma Vyamohatastaditarani Trinaya Mene Asmad Gurur Bhagavatosya Dayaika Sindho Ramanujasya Charanam Sharanam Prapadye. So with prayers at the lotus feet of the Acharyas, let us start with our shlokas for today. So today we are going to take up the 19th and the 20th shlokas. In the previous satsang, we have seen in the 17th and 18th shloka how Krishna talked about one category of people who are exceptions to the rule, who are people who can afford to not do karma yoga. Now, all this time, we saw between the 10th and the 16th shlokas, Krishna was talking about doing karma yoga. Then in the 17th and 18th shloka, he said, for these people, it is okay even if they don't do karma yoga, the particular category of people who are already having Atma Darshana, the people who are Kaivalyarthis. Now he continues in the 19th shloka saying, therefore, O Arjuna, this is what you have to do. So generally when we tell some many things and then we say one more small thing and then we say, because of all this, based on all this, I am telling you this. Therefore, now you see, you have heard all these things. Therefore, now you have to do this. So in that sense, this shloka is being told by Krishna. So in the 19th shloka, Krishna says, Tasmad asakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyacharan karma paramapnoti purushaha. And then he continues in the 20th shloka. He says, karmanyai karmannaiva hi samsiddhim astita janakadayaha lokasangrahamevapi sampashyan kartumarhasi. So in the 19th shloka, Krishna is telling Arjuna, therefore, tasmad, therefore, because of all these things that I have told you, giving up attachment, perform actions as a matter of duty. Because by working without being attached to the fruits, one attains the Supreme Lord. In the 20th shloka, he says, by doing their duties, by performing karma only, King Janaka and many other persons have attained perfection. So you also perform your duties so that you can set an example for the good of the world. Right? So again, it appears like Krishna is talking about the same things. So as we said already, from the 10th to the 16th shloka, Krishna explained to Arjuna about doing karma, how to do karma, yajna, deva puja, you be mutually in a good relationship with the devatas and all those things. In the 17th and 18th shloka, he told about people who are Kaivalyarthi, who are already having Atma Darshana, who are enjoying the experience of the Atman. So he said for such people, there is no need to do karma yoga, because there is nothing that they are going to gain by doing karma yoga. There is nothing that they will lose if they don't do karma yoga. So those are exceptions to the rule. But, O Arjuna, you perform karma yoga. And how he is telling you should perform karma yoga? Asakta. without attachment, without asakti, without any desire, you perform these karmas. Give up attachment and do your karma, and do your karma as a matter of duty, because that is the way in which you have to do. Those are the rules which are prescribed for you. So you do like that only. So here the commentators explain, they give the example of someone who has um, got into this process of singing. So if there is somebody who is new to singing, then when that person goes to the teacher and the singing teacher teaches them how to sing, so they will teach them all the rules of singing. They will teach them that you should sit cross-legged. I mean, at least if you are practicing the Indian schools of music, then they will be taught that you should sit cross-legged on the floor. Before you start, you should offer obeisance to the guru. Then when you are doing, you should keep the count. You should put tala, right? Then they will be taught how to set the shruti, or there is that thing called as a shruti box. So you have to play that, whatever it is. These are certain protocols which have to be followed by somebody who is setting out to sing. So when they do all these things correctly, then it is guaranteed that they are going to uh, get uh, attuned to that process. It is going to make it easy for them to go and become a better singer. So for this new singer, it is very important that they should follow all the rules which are taught to them. Now, if there is somebody who has been singing for many years and they have practiced and done lot of, abhyasa, lot of practice, lot of study of that subject, and now they have become an expert singer. Now, for that expert singer, he may not externally with his hands keep the beat. He may not put the tala, but does it mean that he is not able to sing? Because he's at that very high level and these things have become a part of him already. So even without using a shruti, even without setting the tala externally, still that person will be able to sing very expertly. Why? Because they have gone through this process and they have practiced and become perfect at it. So for this person, the same procedure. Now, will you find fault with an expert singer, with an accomplished singer? Will you say, see that man, he is not keeping tala? No, you can't say such things because they have gone to that stage which is beyond this fresher stage. But for the new singer, he is expected to follow all the procedures. Similarly, in sadhana, on the spiritual path, if there is somebody who has already gone to the higher level, what is this higher level? At the lower level is ordinary persons like us, where we don't have control over our senses. We don't have control over our mind. Our senses and mind pull us in all directions, and we keep getting pulled here and there. So we are like the newbie singer. So for us, there have to be rules told that you do like this, you do karma, you perform these particular actions, you do deva puja, you do yajna, you offer food to the deities, right? You make these offerings to the Lord, you serve in this way, you do this seva. All these things are told for us because we are at the level where we need all these things. And by doing these things repeatedly, what we are hoping that our mind and senses will come under our control. But for somebody who has attained control over the mind and senses, for that person, they are at a level where they can practice jnana yoga. They have jnana. They have realized what is the truth of this atma and sharira. They have an understanding of what is the real nature of this world. So they are at a ripe stage where they need not perform karmas. So that is the difference between us and those people. So in the previous two shlokas, whatever Krishna told that for the Kaivalyarthi, there is no need to do Karma Yoga. That is like the expert singer. So they have gone beyond these stages. They don't need those rules. But for us, because we have no control over our senses and mind, we must perform Karma Yoga. And by repeatedly doing Karma Yoga, we will be able to get to that stage. So how we must perform this Karma Yoga? Give up attachment in the outcome, not be worried about what is the result that is going to come from my actions. And I must do it because it is my duty to do that karma. God has given me this body. I have got this human birth. If I was an animal, there is no question of me doing karma. If I was a plant, if I was a stone, if I was a rock, if I was water somewhere, no chance of me doing any karma there. But I have got this human form. So with this human form, I have got a certain amount of buddhi also. So using all these faculties that the Lord has given me, It is my duty to perform karma. Now here in this 20th shloka, we can see that Krishna is telling Arjuna, he's not just telling that you do all this because I'm telling you, he's giving him examples also. Always for us, if we just hear the theory, somebody explaining something to us or giving us some, guidelines and saying you should do this, you should do not do this and so on, it is a little difficult for us to accept immediately. But suppose we are pointed to another person and somebody is held up as an example in front of us and we are told, you must do like this, you must not do like this. See that person, see how he did, see how he has moved up in his life. Then we will have one concrete idea of what it is that is expected from us. So here Krishna is telling Arjuna that people like King Janaka also got perfection. They also attained the highest level by performing their prescribed duties. So you also must do your duty so that you set an example for everybody in this world to benefit. Now here some places the commentators laughingly, in a humorous way, they say that, okay, why is Krishna choosing Janaka? We know that Janaka was the father of Sita. Actually, this term Janaka is like a family name. So there were some five or six Janakas who came in that lineage. They were all called Janaka. The particular father of Sita his name was Siradhwajan. So this Siradhwaja Janaka is the one who is Sita's father. So this Janaka, he was always considered as a Raja Rishi. He was a Raja, but he was actually also a Rishi. So although he was in that position as a king, his role was to rule over people in the kingdom. His role was to provide administration. His role was to take care of his people. As a king, he did all those things. But how did he do it? He had the attitude of a rishi while doing it. So he did karma yoga, and he did karma yoga in the most perfect way possible, without attachment to the result, with the bhava that it is the Lord who is getting it done through him, with the gratitude that he is being given opportunity to serve the people, and without any desire for his own personal benefit in doing those karmas. So, as I said, humorously, the acharyas and all, in many places, they have commented that who was this Janaka? He was the Lord. He was Krishna's father-in-law, where in the previous avatara, when he came as Rama, this Janaka was his father-in-law. So there, maybe that time also, the Lord would have wanted to praise this Janaka. But then the Lord himself, Rama himself, was a great Chakravarti. And normally Chakravartis don't go around praising other people. So there was no opportunity there for him to sing the glories of Janaka. So that whatever he had that, deficiency, he could not do it in that avatara. So here he is making full use of the opportunity, the commentators say, in a humorous way, that he is praising his father-in-law here because he's saying there are many people, but gives one specific name. He says like Janaka. And this Janaka got Atma Darshana by doing Karma Yoga. So if we go to look at the qualities that this Janaka had, it is very obvious that he was a great jnani also. So he had so much jnana that he had complete discrimination. He knew the reality of this body, this sharira, and the atma. He knew that atma is separate from sharira, not just in intellectually, not just at the theory level, but in actual practice. I think we've talked about this story in some previous satsang. I'm not sure if you remember. Anyway, but I will repeat it now because it is relevant to this topic. So this Janaka was a disciple of the rishi called Yagnavalkya. So in this Yagnavalkya's ashram, there were many disciples. King Janaka was one among them. Although he was a king, he would regularly attend the discourses and sit and listen to the teachings of Rishi Yagnavalkya. Now what happened? Always what the guru used to do is, until Janaka came, he would not start the lesson. He would wait for Janaka to arrive, and only then he would start teaching whatever he had to teach for that day. So all the other disciples, they had a very narrow-minded mentality. They were all feeling jealous of this Janaka. They talked amongst themselves and they gossiped and they said that, see our guru, he's preaching all great things to us. But because Janaka is the king, he is giving so much importance to him. Maybe he has some expectation that the king should help him. Maybe there is some benefit which is coming to him because, that's why he wants to keep Janaka happy. So he is waiting for Janaka to come every time, and only then he is starting the lesson. He does not want to, incur the displeasure of Janaka. So that's why he is trying to keep in his good books, and that's why he's never starting the lesson without Janaka being present. Now, Yajnavalkya came to know about this attitude or this, what you say, poisonous kind of thought which had entered the Shishya's minds. So he didn't say anything directly to the Shishyas. One day, they were all sitting. Janaka was also there. All the other Shishyas were also there. By his yogic power, Yajnavalkya Rishi created the circumstances such that there was a fire which broke out in that entire kingdom. So when that fire broke out, people came running to Janaka, saying that, "Oh my lord, Raja, this everything is suddenly burning, and please tell us what to do. We have to save our things. We have to take care of our people. This is a sudden calamity which has come." So Janaka was not at all disturbed. He was not perturbed at all. What he did was he gave instructions to those people who came there asking for his guidelines. So he gave them instructions and he told them, "You please go and take care of what has to be done." And he himself sat in that place and continued to listen to the teachings of his guru Yajnavalkya. In the meantime, when these people came with the news of the fire, all the other Shishyas also heard this discussion. They also came to know, oh, there is a big fire, and then they could also see and feel the fire. They all got up and started running this side and that side. Now, after some time, Yajnavalkya Rishi, using his same yogic power, he made sure that that fire died down. It was not a real fire. It was something he had created by his power. So it was like a magical illusion. So after some time, he stopped that fire. And then once this fire was gone away, then all these Shishyas, they came back. And when they came back, the Guru asked them, he said, "Where did you all run off? Why is it that Janaka didn't run off? Why was Janaka sitting here only and listening to my lesson?" So they were all very shamefaced. They said, "No, there was a fire, so we got scared that, some damage will happen, so we ran." So Yajnavalkya asked them, he said, "What is it maximum that you would have lost in the fire? What do you possess? You are all people who are my Shishyas. You are all brahmacharis. You are staying here in the ashram. And you are only belonging at the most, must be one set of clothes that you have, or it must be the kopina, that loin cloth which you are wearing, or it may be one kamandalu. Correct? That is all. There is nothing else, no other possession that you have. And yet, to save that one tiny thing, you got up and ran here and there because you were totally disturbed by the thought that that fire is going to destroy whatever belongs to you. That means you have still not understood that whatever happens in this world, that damage, the danger, and all that is only for the Sharira. It is only for the material objects in this world. And if at all it comes to me also, it is only going to be for my body, only for my Sharira. That my Atma is eternal and nothing can damage my Atma. You have not yet realized that. That is why you got up and went and started running around here and there. But look at Janaka. He has, the whole kingdom belongs to him. There is so much more belonging that he has. And yet, he just gave instructions and he continued to sit here. How is that possible for him? Because he has jnana. He has understood the true nature of this world and of the human life. He has understood that the only thing that is eternal is the Atma. And everything else is temporary and nothing else is of any value. That is the reason why he sat here and listened to me. And out of respect for that quality of his, because he is a jnani, because he is a realized soul, that is the reason why I always wait for him to come before I start my lessons. You were all assuming that because he is the king, because I have some dealings with him, or because I want to seek some benefits from him, I am waiting for Janaka. Now, did you understand what is the true nature of Janaka? He asked. And then those disciples understood that how great a jnani this Janaka Maharaja is. So why this thing is told here by the acharyas. Why give this example? Even Krishna, why is he telling the example of Janaka? Why didn't he pick up somebody else? He specifically quotes Janaka. Because from this example, this story that we have seen, we know that Janaka had the adhikara to carry out jnana yoga, and yet he performed karma yoga. Because he had attained jnana, did he renounce the world and say, I'm going to give up everything and I will only be involved, engaged always in communion with the Lord through dhyana and tapas? No, he continued to live in Janakpuri. He continued to live in Mithila. He continued to perform his duties. He continued to do all the actions which were expected of him as a Raja. That means, despite having adhikara to do jnana yoga, still he performed karma yoga. When somebody who has adhikara to do jnana yoga does not do that but does karma yoga, that means there is lot of value in karma yoga. So what Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna here is that, oh Arjuna, Janaka was a very great jnani and yet he performed karma yoga. You, Arjuna, have absolutely no adhikara yet to do jnana yoga. Why Arjuna doesn't have adhikara to do jnana yoga? The very fact that he is upset at having to fight with people who are his relatives shows that he has not understood the true nature of the Atma and the Sharira. So you, Arjuna, you have no adhikara to do jnana yoga. So how can you say, I will not do my karma? How can you say, I will give up this battle, I will go and do dhyana in the forest? You can't take that option because even great adhikaris like Janaka have only performed karma yoga. So you also must do only karma yoga. This is what you are supposed to do. This is your role. And this is the path I am telling for you to perform. So Krishna is explaining all this to Arjuna and trying to convince him that karma yoga is the path which is ahead for you. So how should that karma yoga be performed? Without any attachment, without any selfish desire, and for whose benefit? Not just the individual, but the entire society. Now, later in the next few shlokas, Krishna is going to talk about what is the role of people in society, how a great person must behave in a particular way, because there are people who are going to follow what he is doing. So, he has a responsibility not just to do his own Atma Uddhara, but he must also make sure that his actions, other people are watching and they will copy his actions. So he must make sure that he is behaving always with that idea in his mind. He must be cautious in the way he does things. So that Krishna is going to explain later. And then he's going to talk about himself, how Krishna himself, there is no need for him to do anything, and yet he keeps doing actions. So these things will come in the next few shlokas. But for today, we need to understand that Krishna is telling Arjuna, we have seen what is the importance of karma yoga. We have said that for Kaivalyarthi, there is no need to do karma yoga because he has already achieved Atma Sakshatkara. But you are not at that level. So you give up attachment, do your actions without any attachment, do them as a duty. And by doing this, you will attain the Supreme Lord. And people like King Janaka and others also have got perfected, have reached the higher state by doing karma yoga only. So you also do your duties and set an example for everybody else. Because Arjuna is not any ordinary person. Arjuna is looked up to by everybody in the Kshatriya class. There are so many people who are having Arjuna as a role model for them to follow. So whatever Arjuna does, everybody else in the world is going to start doing the same thing. So that is why Krishna is, encouraging him and repeatedly trying to emphasize to Arjuna that you have to do this for your good. You have to also do it for the good of other people in this society. So how exactly that connection happens between one person's actions and other people following it? What is the attitude with which such great people should do their karmas? All that we will talk about in the next few shlokas. So today we have come to the end of our satsang. Let us pray and offer Kritagnyata to the Lord so that we are able to understand and practice these to whatever extent in our life also. So let us offer Kritagnyata, gratitude, at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna and Guru for inspiring us to start and join this satsang. And let us pray for their blessings and grace to always be on us. Thank you, everybody, for attending the satsang today. We will catch up. We will meet again next Thursday, as usual. Namaskar.